What's up, replayers? Please come into the room and enjoy the discussion. Please share. Welcome to the scope. It is Friday night. What's up, guys? What's up? What's up? We're gonna let the room fill. What's up? What's up? Kurt, thanks for the invite. Thank you for the invite. We got some sticking on my computer. Sup, sup? Thank you for the hearts. Appreciate that. What's up? Crazy week, guys. Crazy week. Excellent week. As a matter of fact, this week was a record week since I've been trading the markets. 3Zoo, what's up? So, there are two aspects to the trades for this week. The first being the all right, so here's Monday. There we are. Monday, Friday, Monday, Friday. So if we just traded the daily, 275 pips this week. That includes all the retracements, all of the volatility. If we took a hit on all that volatility, we still were up 275 pips. So if you placed a long trade on Monday and then you fell asleep and woke up Friday afternoon, 275 pips up. When we take it down to a smaller time chart, remember I told you guys about that 1377? Man, when it broke through this level, it shot straight down in like 5 minutes. It shot straight down that candle. So if we consider all these turns on the 2-hour chart, we're up 575 pips this week. How does that sound? 575 pips, man. That's what it looks like. Yeah, next week, well, long term, yes, I'm expecting a retracement. So next week I would not expect to be net positive. However, I feel like this is going to turn up a little bit. We have these two fib retracement levels to deal with, though, which are going to be very strong. See all the price action jumped in between here. And you can see if we break it down to an hour chart, long, short, long, short, long, out. 5 trades, 5 hours straight right there. You're going to got 30, 30, 30, 30, 30 pips. How crazy is that? Actually, it's more like 15 pips. So 15, 30, 45. Still could have racked up a good amount of trading on this ping pong right here in between the fibs. And guess what? Prime caught every single one. Prime caught that, prime caught down, prime caught up. This retracement here, you could have just took another long position since we were still long and then exited here. We would have done very, very well. You know, and that's sans all the risk that we missed all this volatility because of the risk component. So we weren't even in the market that much. We weren't even in the market as much as we could be and we still are up to 575 pips this week, which is insane. And I'm just looking forward to next week, to be quite honest. I'm just looking forward to next week. I'm ready to kill it. I'm very focused. And, you know, right now, anybody who's on this feed right now, you're going to have a definite advantage going forward. I know, right, Kerr? How does this work? It works very well. It works very, very, very well. That's how it works. It works by giving you cashola. It works by beating the market. It works by anticipating thousands of data points and recording thousands of data points. To be quite honest, it works in a way that a lot of people would not understand, and additionally that I am not going to explain because it's proprietary. But yes, it is a currency. This is the the Euro USD cross. So we're playing that cross, the difference in valuation between the two currencies. And this is a very liquid market, and that's why we're playing it, and that's why we're killing it. So guys, you know, breaking it back down to the daily, you know, obviously if we're playing the daily chart, we miss out on almost half of the moves. Did you guys catch that? Let me just get this little stand ready. Hold on one second. Let me just get something. That's not good. Bam. Much better, right? And actually, let's do this. Let me rig this guy up. Hold on one second. Alright, so guys, what we're looking at is daily price action here, okay? Now, when we're coming down here, obviously, you gotta understand, on a daily time chart, you're essentially taking position in the, I guess I would say, atmosphere of knowing that your strategy is going to offer quite a lot of volatility intraday. What's the best opt-in? I'm not sure what that question means. So you're going to get volatility within the day, intraday volatility, and you got a lot of price movement here. The range right here on this particular candle, okay? The range on this particular candle is almost 80 pips. What do you mean by opt-in? I'm not sure what you mean by opt-in. I'm trying to understand what you mean by opt-in. I know what Forex is, obviously. But I'm not sure what you mean by opt-in. So, you gotta understand, guys, if these daily candles have ranges that are like 60, this is probably 100 pips. Let me see real quick. This is wow. So, this particular candle actually has an 80 pip range as well. I don't know why it looks different than this one. The wick is a little bit different size. But the point is that if you take daily positions, and we're having 80 pip ranges in the daily positions, in the very least, that means that you have to expect an 80 pip stop loss. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Are you proceeding as if success is inevitable? Because if you're not, then no chart, no algorithm, no kick to the groin is going to help. True, what up, man? Because without the mindset, there is nothing that anyone can do to help. What's the best way to start in Forex? Sure, Cloveras, what's up? What I said was, I actually forgot what exactly I said, or the exact wording that I had, but without the right mentality, all right, if you don't have the right mentality, there is nothing that can help you. No algorithm, no strategy, no amount of knowledge, and no kick to the groin, okay? And what I mean by a kick to the groin would be like a devastating loss is a huge kick to the groin. It's going to hurt, but pain doesn't make you better unless you've already got the mindset that you want to avoid the pain, that you're doing what it takes to avoid the pain. You know what I mean? Some people, they don't mind the pain. I see people like this every single day. They don't mind the pain. You know, they make decisions, bad decisions, one right after another, and they're smart enough to know what they're doing, right? And they still make bad decisions, and some people are like that. But the thing with any market in particular that you're trading is that when you make a bad move, you get instant feedback. If you took a bad position on this day, the next day you know you took a bad decision. You know you made a bad decision because your account's down. And the market doesn't lie. You know what I mean? The market does not lie. The market is never, ever, ever wrong. The market is 100% truth. The market is the exact sum of supply and demand or fear. I would actually add fear into that. Supply, demand, and fear at any given moment. What's a good percentage for the drawdown? Great question. Great question, True. What's up, Vaca? Rizu, what's up? Your algorithm work best on daily or any? Any, man. Any. That's the point. Maximize, what's up? Man, it's an early day there for you, huh? So, what's the best percentage drawdown? Well, ideally, you don't want to lose more than 1% of your account on any given trade. What's up? What's going on today? Today we took about 120 pips out of the market. A little more, actually. Edgar, what's up? We played the daily today right after the... I mean, first of all, in the morning we played the release of the non-farm payroll. We hit that so on the money. It was so money. Let's zoom in an hourly time chart. We took the gains up. So we took 50 pips up. Okay? We took 40 pips on the way down, and then we exited. Actually, the 40 pips was up here. We exited. This shot back up. We were out of the market all the way down to 1377. We weren't in the market. At 1377, I was actually on the scope, and I said, guys, watch the 1377 level. If we break through 1377, it's going to go shooting down. What happens? We break through 1377. We get this huge candle downward in less than 5 minutes. This was a forceful sell here. This was de-risking. Yeah, well, it started great. I mean, we took 50 pips from the, before 9:30, we were already up 50 pips. So then, once we came down here, Prime fired off long, and we took this long up to 1365. At what point I exited, and then it just kept going. Prime stayed long. Guys, look, Prime stayed long all the way up to 1403. Prime stayed long. At 1403, Prime goes short. That was 20 pips right there. From 1383, we go long. That was 16 pips on the way up. And then, of course, we would have exited before the market closed because we're not holding over the weekend at all. So what does it look like on paper? If we played daily chart only, we walked away with 275 pips. If we broke it down to a smaller time frame, we walked away with 575 pips this week. Now, I don't know about you, But I don't see anybody teaching Forex that even gets half that. So, at least not live on scopes like we're doing here. The difference is that, of course, this is not discretionary, and so the turns are happening real time, and the system is aligning. As soon as that turn presents itself, the system is there and ready to take it. I used to until I started getting better than them, and at this point it's kind of like SMH, you know. I just shake my head at some of these guys. I don't know why they're teaching, to be quite honest, but you know, certain people have certain strategies. You know, certain people only trade dailies, and you know, certain people only trade longer time frames, and those people are going to have drawdowns. For most people's accounts, it would not be valuable, but I will tell you this, that I am honestly trying to find, and not for the sake of pure competition, but rather for the sake of trying to align myself with someone else who's in the game that actually knows their stuff. I cannot find one person. And I know all the people that are out there that are, you know, pumping whatever system. But when it comes down to it, I don't see these guys doing any live trades. I don't see them calling stuff live on scopes. Your team would have to get on board with me. I'll be quite honest. Can your team take 100 pips per day out of the market? If not, then they're going to have to step up to my level. What did you trade when you started? Good question, True. I traded everything when I started because I actually didn't have any type of clarity in what I was doing. Right? So I didn't have any type of clarity. Well, don't try to recruit me into network marketing unless your guys can take 100 pips out of the market on a day and they have documented proof like I've been doing on a scope where they do it live in front of people. They need to come up to my level, to be honest. That's just being honest, you know what I mean? That's not bullshit. People can say they're making this, they're making that. But unless they're actually performing in what they're teaching, all right? I'm teaching currency trading, okay? I'm teaching currency trading. So unless they're actually trading, then there's not really much of an offer for me there. This is what I do every single day. But anyways, True, when I first got into the market, I traded everything because I did not have a focus. I also studied everything. So everything was literally, as I went, I just kind of picked up one thing to another. I started off with equities, and then I went into options, and then from options, went into futures, and then I kind of found my niche in Forex for several reasons, because I liked the leverage involved. You know, the thing with foreign exchange is that the currencies are very volatile at certain points, and if you can code an algorithm that can take advantage of that, you end up actually with a little bit better edge than most other markets. You know, some people only trade certain markets. Like some people only trade indices, some people only trade options, some people only trade single stock options or options on indices. So everybody kind of has their niche, and really it doesn't matter what you trade. What matters is there's a few things that matter. You know, what's the spread on commissions, all right? You don't want to be paying a high spread on commissions. Number two is you want something with volatility. You got to capture volatility. You've got to be able to capture range and volatility on a daily basis, okay? So, and number three, there has to be liquidity. You have to have liquidity. You have to be able to enter and exit the market at a second's notice, okay? So those are the three things that you need right there. Does one make more money than the other? Not necessarily. I mean, everything has leverage, especially options and currency trading. All right, so options and currency trading have tons of leverage. However, the difference is that Forex markets are obviously way more liquid than any other market on earth. And so one would say that the currency markets, the Forex markets, at any given point of the day represent the truest price. because the markets never close except for one day. Right now the markets are closed, but Sunday night the markets will be open again. And so from a portfolio management perspective, the less time a market is closed, ideally the less risk you have. Why? Because you could position yourself easier if the market is open more. There's more liquidity. The price represents a truer price than non-liquid markets. The system, I wouldn't sell this system in terms of the actual code. That's not going to happen no matter what. You know, the thing when it comes to intellectual property is that code needs to be kept sacred because you technically cannot copyright or patent a code. You can definitely own a code in other ways. For instance, Goldman Sachs, they had coders that at some point a few years back tried to take code to another hedge fund, and what ended up happening was when that code was taken, they had so much pull and so much power that they got the FBI involved. And so that particular coder, I think he was about to go to jail. There was a very big legal battle. So yeah, there was a very big legal battle, and they put the valuation of the code that he tried to take to another hedge fund. They valued it at $50 million. Andrea, what's up? Long time no see. We're talking about money, literally. How are you? Yeah, so they tried to frame it, even though this guy technically wrote the code himself. When you write the code and you're working for someone else, it's their code. It's their code. They take ownership over that property. Okay? So in that way, it's a little bit unfair to people that are actually exercising coding as a creative means of expression and ability. Because if you were an artist and you know, if you painted your portrait in someone else's house, they have no ownership over that. However, when it comes to being in a job workplace atmosphere, what you create under your employer ends up being your employer's work. Andrea, well then just hop in the room because we're talking about it every day. We're talking about it every day. We're talking about winning every single day. And we're winning every single day. So, guys, let's do a quick Q&A. You know, like I said, this was just the recap. We went over the recap really quick. Daily chart, we took 275 pips this week. 2-hour chart, we took 575 pips this week. And that's what's up. I want to hear your questions, concerns, comments. I think it's pretty funny that guy tried to recruit me to, like, I don't know what he was trying to recruit me to. You should join my team, bro. All right, Maximize, sounds great. Enjoy your day. Sounds great. Catch you later. And it just goes to show you like how much. Thank you, appreciate it. It goes to show you like how many people in this Forex market thing are just so full of crap. It's pretty amazing. What's good with the info you took from us? What's good? Oh, excellent. Yeah, great question. So basically, what I got out of that was just that everybody has kind of like their own thing that they want to see in terms of how they're getting their information, how they're absorbing their information, consuming information, whatever you want to call it. So bottom line is that I've realized, you know, if I do offer any type of training program, it's obviously going to have to be in multiple formats, which I don't mind. But I will probably offer it in video first, just because it's going to be the best way for me to talk to you guys. Like I talk to you right now, it's easy for me to flow from one topic to another. I'm a talker, you know. I converse in any type of arena pretty well with people, no matter what the topic is. So that's my strength. So that's going to be the fastest way that I can get you guys the information, if that makes sense. So when I develop a training program, it's probably going to be video first, and then I'm going to see about the other aspects. What's the best leverage to start with? 2550 number amount in the account. Well, like I said, leverage is a double-edged sword. I would never recommend going over 100. I don't even think I don't even know of a broker that offers 200. And I'd have to question their sanity, because basically when you offer that type of leverage, the people, put it this way, professional traders do not trade with 200% leverage. They just don't. Because one little candle, if you take a position and the candle goes against you, your account's gone. Your whole account is gone. Any type of volatility that is extreme is just going to wipe out your account, like, fast too. So 200% leverage, anybody who recommends that, I would have to say that they probably have never read a single page of anything on money management ever. And you guys want to be very careful with that. Because money management, like we said, money management is the foundation. Money management is the foundation to successful trading. If you don't manage money properly, you cannot make money with any strategy. You will eventually bust. Because you'll be too deep, you'll be knee deep in blood when the markets turn against you, and then at that point, your losses just accelerate so quickly. So professional traders most of the professional traders that I know don't take over 50 leverage. And they have their own proprietary ways of determining how much leverage to take based upon, overall market volatility, VIX statistics. So, they've constantly got their hands on some type of market pulse that's going to take the market volatility into consideration. And if the volatility is really high, they will decrease their leverage. And if the volatility is low, then they can increase it a little bit. So hope that makes sense. But don't go for high leverage. And this is one case where more is not always better. FMC Knight, what's up? We're talking about how we killed the euro today. Welcome to the room. Welcome to the room. Alright guys, so that's the recap for today. I'll just throw that over there. That's the recap. Any questions? Any questions real quick? Because I'm going to get offline. I'm exhausted. The amount of analysis I did this week, staying up late and coding and getting all that stuff done was just exhausting. Completely exhausting. But it paid off, obviously. It worked out. That's so funny that guy tried to recruit me. I still can't get over that. Always be cautious of people that don't actually show you stuff that's happening. They start throwing out numbers, start showing you rented cars and stuff like that. No questions? I don't know, it seems like Forex. Yeah, there's a couple guys that are trying to push like this MLM version of Forex, and it won't work, and I'll tell you why. Because they'll blow up their accounts before they can recruit other people. That's just plain and simple what it is. Like, if you expect, and this is why I tell you guys that I'm being straight up with you, okay? Some people are just not meant to trade, no matter what the market is. Hey, thanks, music. What's up? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show tonight. Some people are just not meant to trade. They don't have the mentality. They don't have the ability to deal with the stress. Trading is kind of like fighting. If you're not a fighter, if you don't have that mentality that you could be okay with harming other people because, you feel that you have entitlement to this, you probably are not going to be a Forex trader. It doesn't mean you can't make money in Forex. Like, that's what these people try to do. They try to recruit other people into some type of MLM, or you could actually just hop onto other people's trades, right? There's tons of new startups coming out like that. And as a matter of fact, that's probably where I might take this algorithm, to where people follow along with the trades. Because, you know, if I put a decade into this, can I honestly expect someone else to learn it in a year or two? Does that make sense to you guys? I mean, there are certain people that would do very well in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, but you know, they say 10 years or 10,000 hours. I'm up to like 35,000 hours at this point. So it's like, you know, when you talk about realistic expectations, you know, we have to sit there and look at people. Are they analytical? Do they have killer instinct? Can they do calculations in their head very quickly? Can they do risk versus reward calculations very quickly? Well, he said like 100K a month, the guy that hopped on here. And I'm like, okay, 100K a month, but are you doing it by trading? Right? Are you doing it by trading? And I said, look, if you can take 100 pips a day out of the market, then show me. Just show me. Just like I've been doing with you guys the whole time. You guys are following along in the trades. You guys are seeing the 50 pip trades, the 40 pip trades, the 30 pip trades, the 100 pip. You guys are seeing it as it's happening. You know, so when someone says they're making their income, well, you can make that income without trading. You know, if you run an MLM, some of them are very lucrative. But the point being is that what are you going to teach me about trading if you're not actually trading? Yeah, but the fact of the matter is that when someone comes out with a number like that, it smells like bullshit, man. I don't know. These guys... these guys must think that other people, and they're looking for suckers. They really are. They're looking for people that are just going to let down their guard, and they hear like, oh, 6 figures a month. Let me tell you something. I know a lot of people who make, well, I know a couple of people that make 7 figures a month, all right? It is not anywhere near as easy as recruiting someone and making that kind of money. It does not happen. I will tell you that. It does not happen. They may have one person in their entire organization that did it, and he might be the 1 or 2 guy that started it, and they use that as the example that perpetuates, okay? But the fact of the matter is that when you look at people who really make that type of income, they're not on Periscope trying to recruit people into an MLM. It's just the truth, all right? You know, Periscope is an awesome marketing tool, but the fact of the matter is that when you structure it like that, you can't recruit Forex traders, okay? Traders, it's like being a doctor. Are you going to recruit a doctor? You got to put in your time, man. You got to put in your time. You got to study the decade. You've got to get that time in. And there's no substitute for it. Thanks, True. There's no substitute for being under fire for 10 years. You can't duplicate that in anything else. It's like being in fights, you know? I appreciate it, True. You can't, like... That's why when I started taking jiu-jitsu guys, right, they would have these guys that would come into the jiu-jitsu gym, okay? And we would take guys that were taking jiu-jitsu for 1 month, and have them go against a guy that was taking karate for 10 years. And you tap out the guy who's taking karate for 10 years, you know, literally within a couple minutes. And the reason being is that every single day in jiu-jitsu, we did live wrestling. Every single day. And you can't duplicate live fighting by kicking a wooden board. Kicking a wooden board does not duplicate wrestling and fighting. It doesn't. You cannot duplicate being under fire, being under pressure, and having that kind of pressure on you, and then having to make the perfect decision when you have that pressure on you. So that's why I was kind of looking at that whole Forex MLM thing, and I'm like, man, these guys are just they're gonna crash and burn, because you cannot recruit experts like that. Experts require training, and this is not something that you cannot go into this without training. You cannot do surgery without putting in 10 years, and that's what we're doing. We're technically doing PIP surgery. If you see how every move was executed today, it was literally like surgery. Right. They're not making it on trading, and that's why the business, like, there's no proprietary component that can enable it to keep going. All right. because you're selling a product. What's your product? Well, maybe a trading app or a trading algorithm or whatever. But the fact of the matter is that if that algorithm is not making the lion's share of the income for the business, then what happens is you end up with a Ponzi scheme. And that's why a lot of people, MLM and Ponzi is not the same. MLM and pyramid is not the same. Okay? There's a very good difference between the two. Things become a pyramid scheme when the product or service is not making as much money as the recruitment. Does that make sense? Remember I told you guys, one of my first scopes I talked about Bill Ackman. He's a hedge fund manager. He lives close to a lot of the places that I work with when I do consulting and things of that nature. I think his fund is $20 billion, so he manages $20 billion. Exactly, that Herbalife example we talked about. When he started going through Herbalife's financials, and he saw that they were making more money off of the recruitment than the sales of their product, he knew right away to short it. And let's actually look at. Let's look at what they did for the past year. It looks like the stock recovered pretty well. But he shorted it last year. It went from like $80 to like $30-something. So he made like 50%, and now it looks like it's shot back up. It's almost recovered. So that gives you an idea. Like when a hedge fund goes in full force, it's going to move the stock. It will move the stock. Especially with Ackman. Ackman does a lot of, he does takeovers. So what he'll do is he'll acquire shares in the company at such a high rate that they have to put either him or one of his advisors on the board of directors. And they just go in there and they just change the whole friggin' company. They start firing people. Like the people that need to be fired are gone. The people that need to be hired are moved in. And they restructure the entire company from the inside out. So when anyone hears that Ackman is taking a position, whether it's long or short, if it's long, the stock price goes up very quickly. If it's short, they know that he's shorting the company because he doesn't feel that there can be a takeover. He doesn't feel that there's a way for the company to improve, and that's why the stock price goes down. And Herbalife still has not recovered from that. And here it is. When did that happen exactly? There was like a huge, and one day on the 30th. It's available through pretty much any type of platform. So you guys want to see what happened the day after Ackman announced that he was shorting Herbalife? That's the day after Ackman announced that he was shorting Herbalife. The price was literally cut almost in half. So you can tell that he has a lot of... Can you imagine being a shareholder in that company and you have this nice net worth because your shares are in that company, and then overnight, boom, you lose 50% of your net worth because some hedge fund manager was shorting your stock? Pretty crazy, right? So, yeah, that's Thinkorswim. This is just, that was Herbalife that I brought up on the platform. So, yeah, Herbalife got trashed when he announced that. And when any hedge fund manager takes a short position, people just run for the hills. They start selling shares literally the next chance that they get. Even pre-market. Pre-market, the shares were down, golly. The shares were down like $15 pre-market. That's before the market even opened. So there were some rather large holders of Herbalife shares that just immediately started selling. Pretty crazy. But anyways, back to the topic of it being an MLM, okay? When Ackman saw that they were making more money off of recruitment, all right, because basically you have to pay a sum to get involved with the company, which is not a bad thing, especially if it's going to cover training or products or services or whatever, supplies. It costs money to start a business, whether it's under an MLM type structure or your own place or whatever. point being, though, when the company is making more money off of those fees for people joining than the actual sale of the product, it's a huge problem. It's a huge problem. And essentially they can get in trouble for that. Essentially they can get in trouble because what they'll always try to do is make the financials, in terms of fundamentals, look like they're making more money off of the product, because they know that people that do financial accounting, in terms of forensic accounting, that are going through the financials, they know that those people are looking for specific instances where those MLMs are doing those tricky income adjustments. Okay, if they're making their income off of recruitment and not the sale of a product or service, accountants that are very good know how to look for that, and they'll tell the managers, and they'll have a meeting the next day, and they'll be in that company shorting it to death. Have no idea what that means, but welcome to the room. So it's Friday night here, guys. Big Leak, what's up? So tonight, basically, are you guys getting kicked out? Is that what's happening? We need to yell at Periscope, don't we? We need to get on Periscope. The basic gist of this week was we killed it this week. It was very good to see things happening live and to see the hard work start to take effect. To see everything come into play was exhilarating, and I'll be honest, I didn't expect the algo to perform this well. However, next week is another week, and this week is done, and so the focus is immediately on next week at this point, because like I told you, when you manage any type of portfolio, the celebrations become very short term. There are no long-term celebrations. Yeah, it's a great feeling, but like I said, the arena opens again on Sunday night. And if we stop and we celebrate this week, when Monday rolls around, I don't want to be the one disappointed on Monday and say, hey, well, we had a great week last week, but this week is disappointing. Now, obviously, I don't think that's going to happen because, with the back testing I've done, I've gone back to, I've already back tested this algorithm to 1996. And it hasn't missed a single thing since 1996. So let's just say that if something were to, not work, I would be very surprised, because the last 10 years of back testing have shown up pretty much on point. There is actually very little slippage, except for the daily chart. Like I said, daily chart has that 60 to 80 pip range, and so if you're going to take daily positions only, then you need to have the stop loss set at a very large amount. And see, here's the difference. When it comes to leverage, you cannot have a 60 to 80 pip stop loss and have a lot of leverage, because your 60 pip stop loss, if it gets taken out, that's a huge chunk out of your portfolio. We don't want that. That's a devastating loss that you may not be able to make back up, because you're putting too much on the table. The time that you make 60 pips, it's going to look amazing, right? It's going to look amazing. You were highly leveraged. You made 60 pips. Now you're swimming in money. But the mathematics of it is, and here's what you need to know about money management. The reason why money management works is because there is what's called an efficient frontier, okay? I could Google this shit, but it's just going to take too much time, so I'm just going to explain it to you. Efficient frontier means that for a given amount of risk, there is a given return, okay? But however, more risk does not equal more return. There is a certain point, if you were to graph it on a chart, where you have optimal risk and return, okay? Does that make sense? You guys following along? Let me get a Y or an N. Let me get a Y or an N to make sure that you guys are following along. More risk does not equal more returns. It does not, okay? Statistically speaking, and this is what's true in real life, this isn't just white coat mathematical lab shit. Awesome.
the truth of the matter is that there is what's called an efficient frontier, which means that there is an optimal amount of risk for reward. And if you go over that optimal risk, guess what happens? You guys take a guess. Guess what happens if you go over the amount of risk? If you go over a certain amount of risk for a given portfolio size. Musique, you're talking about some heavy statistical work, which your coding might help with, but it's going to be heavy work. There's lots of various types of formulas that you could start implementing with coding. But Python has statistical add-ons. You could start fooling around with a lot of those statistical libraries, like SciPy. Have you heard of SciPy? You can start messing around with SciPy and NumPy and really getting into the statistics. Check out SciPy, SCIPY. SCIPY. And you just go on that route. When you research that route, you're going to come across all that statistical shit with coding. Yeah. So it's a Python library, and it's going to have a lot of statistical add-ons that enable you to do very good shorthand statistics. Like, you won't have to actually hand code everything because they have they basically have definitions built into the library that involve shorthand. So it's very good. It's very efficient, but it's basically taking statistics to a whole nother level. And basically, you don't need that to be a great trader. But yeah, yay for libraries, right? Probably saves hours of time if you know the library very well. But the fact of the matter is that it's important to understand the concept. Before you understand the math, you must understand the concept. Okay? If you want to understand why the concept works, then you can start delving into the mathematics of it. But if you're a beginner, the last thing you want to do is get discouraged trying to understand, PhD level math. It's not going to be a good instance for you. So, anyways, guys, we have that efficient frontier. Okay, we're talking very advanced portfolio statistics here, but the bottom line is that I want you guys to remember that just because you take on more risk, it doesn't mean that you make more from the risk. Okay, so leveraging too high, what does it mean? It means that there is a 100% chance over time. So if this is your efficient frontier curve, and this is less risk than most people would take, and this is more risk than most people would take on this other side of the curve, right? Let's say this is a chart. Boop. This is 0 on the chart. Right here we've got a chart, okay? We've got the time on the bottom, and we've got the values leading up on the left-hand side, but it's probably reversed for you guys. So I don't know if it would be your left-hand side or your right-hand side. Doesn't matter, but the visualization is that once your risk goes beyond the efficient frontier, you have a 100% chance that your account will get blown up. It may take a day, it may take a year, but statistically speaking, it's a 100% chance. And that is why people that are smart with math are the only ones that can excel when it comes to trading. And that is why having an MLM does not work when it comes to finance. Can you sketch really quick? Yes. What was the library called? SciPy. Right there. Hold on. Let me get the site. So basically, guys, I don't want to go off on a tangent. Like I said, Musique is a coder already, and if he's already using Python, then chances are that he's already put in the 5 years or so to learn the basics. Excuse me. Let me just show you real quick. So it's open source. If you're into coding with Python, you can use this. But let me tell you, it's on another level, guys. But you can just read the wiki if you want to know what SciPy is. Just read the wiki. Wikipedia, man. I'll point you in the direction, but you got to walk the path. So the point is, for this week, okay, what did we learn about this week? Well, I learned from you guys how you like to consume information. We have yet another week of very solid testing. This is not back testing. This was live testing on live markets. So when it comes to curve fitting and all the things that would inhibit testing when you back test, that did not come into play, and the system was still successful, which is very positive. Okay, speaking from the perspective of the scientific process, what happens if you back test, that you can get people curve fit to make the process look better than it actually is, because they can say, oh well, it should have went short here and it should have went long there, so they start involving that into the code going forward, and then all of a sudden going forward it does not perform like it went backward. So the good thing about this week is that it was the ultimate proving ground. It was getting thrown into the octagon for the fight because everything was real time, all the calls were real time, and it didn't miss anything. It literally did not miss anything. So I'm hyped up about it, to be honest. But I may not look it, but like I said, it's because of the whole art of war mentality. As soon as you start getting excited about something, that's probably when you're going to have the most chances of slipping up. And so we view this as, like I said in one of the other scopes, completely emotionless. It's hard, but you know what? That's why you don't hear me talking about, oh guys, I'm afraid to take this position. You don't hear that fear. You don't see that type of emotion. You don't see really the exhilaration. Besides me hopping on to Twitter or Periscope to kind of brag about it, and I have to do that because if I'm going to put time into this, there has to be a marketing component to it. But the fact of the matter is that literally as soon as I hop offline, that whole joy thing is gone. It's flat now. And tomorrow I'll start with analysis for the upcoming week. I will start that by looking at the economic calendar and seeing what the actual reports are for next week coming out. And we'll start looking at instances of high volatility and where that volatility can be. Okay, we're going to look at that. We're going to say, if there's high volatility, higher than normal, that's when we're going to use smaller lot sizes. Plans for the room. Which room? Which room? My physical trading room or or what? Where you're trying to go with this really? There's still so much up in the air. I'm thinking about possibly getting a chat room, but I have to see exactly how many signals that the system is going to give out, because if we do it just based on the daily, then obviously it's going to be pretty boring. It's going to be like, okay guys, prime is long today, take a long position and go fishing. And there might be days where the volatility swings and you go into, a little bit of a loss, but overall, if prime's long, the market's long. That's the way it's been. That's been what's showing. The issue is that I want to make sure that, see, with marketing, you want to create demand. However, if I create too much demand that I can't hop on to Periscope and I can't give you guys trades and then I can't do videos, I have to take it slow, and I have to see exactly what I'm worthy of putting out in terms of how much work can I actually accomplish. Care mostly about the knowledge. Yeah, definitely. I definitely will at some point release an educational program because I'm fed up with what I see out there. Just to be honest, I see too much out there that doesn't really work. So I got to make a better engine. I don't see anything out there that's competing on the level of what I have, and it's taken me a while to realize that. And that's not being braggadocious. That's just being, real. I mean, I hope I find someone that I can collaborate with. I hope I find someone that's like, hey man, I got something that's working. You've got something that's working. I've got a huge newsletter list. You can code really well. Let's collaborate. I just came out of one. Out of what? A program that they were actually winning. They were getting some good trades, or what? I know there's a few out there. Yeah, I know there's a few out there, but when I talk to people that have joined them, like for one, I talked to this guy. I told you the email that I got earlier this week. The guy told me that the guy sent out 5 trades all month. 5 trades. Yeah, and see, the reason could be, it could be a lot of reasons. First of all, people get lazy, all right? And that's how you know right off the bat, wow, this chick is giving this guitar a run for the money. That's how you know the mentality of people who are traders and people who are not, okay? A great trader could take any income, and we're making 100 pips, guys. 100 pips a day. Can you fathom how much money that is actually worth, on an account? I showed you guys that spreadsheet, right? I mean, if you're trading $1 million lot sizes, we're talking about making like between 100 and 200K a week. I mean, if someone is a great trader, you can take any income and leverage that up with trading. But the second I see people and it's like, dude, you're supposed to be a trader, but where are your trades? What are you calling them? And I see people starting, Forex programs, quote unquote, and then they're not giving any trades. They're giving no free trades. And then I talk to people that are actually in the program. So I'm like, well, maybe they're not doing the free trades over the internet. Maybe they're just doing it in the program, right? Maybe they got a newsletter list. And I talk to people in the program. They're like, no, dude, we got 5 trades all month. Dude, I gave you guys almost 5 trades today. Today alone, it was almost 5 trades. It was like three trades that we played consistently, and if you were aggressive, it was 4 trades. So, and that was on the hourly chart. And it's just insane. I can't understand why someone would fall back on that promise to people. If you say you're going to give people trades, you got to give people trades. And if you don't, then that shows that you're not a trader. However, the added component is that you can get a program, you can get overwhelmed. Maybe the program becomes so successful that you can't handle the customer service. So hire people. Hire people to do your customer service. Stop bitching that you're making money and hire people to do customer service. Don't go out and buy, whatever. If people get mad at me for saying this, then get mad at me for saying this. Don't go out and buy a fucking luxury car until you hire someone that does your customer service. Be a businessman. Be a businessman, all right? Because guess what? If you go out and you buy an exotic car, that's about the same amount of money as it costs to hire one very good worker to handle all of your customer service. So how about you become a braggadocious person about you have the best customer service in the entire world and not braggadocious about your Lambo? Just saying. Just saying. Real talk, man. Real talk. I'm not going to cut anything. I'm not going to mention names. I'm not going to talk about people directly but that just goes to show you guys that I want to teach you the correct way to do things. You know what I mean? You should be worrying about hiring people more than you're worrying about showing off wealth. You want to create a better economy? You do that by creating jobs. You don't do that by buying a foreign vehicle. Not that I have anything against it. Hey, if you've already created 100 jobs, eat your heart out. Go buy 10 foreign vehicles. I don't care. But if your first purchase when you create a successful program is a foreign vehicle and you're giving that money, you're outsourcing that, all right? You're basically exchanging currency. What does that say, man? What does that say? It says that you're not thinking long term, to be honest. But I'm not trying to create a fly-by-night thing. When you've got something that's really, really valuable, you want to protect it, and you want to call it your baby, and you want to make sure that things are long-term. Remember I told you guys about technology? Opportunity does not come around like a revolving door. When opportunity comes around, you got to have the right knowledge to take advantage of it at that moment. Carbon fiber company, cool. Carbon fiber, send me an email. I have a question for you regarding carbon fiber specifically. you can reach out to me on my Twitter Fit Businessman. Just direct message me or at me on Twitter, because I have a carbon fiber specific question. So I'm assuming that if you named your company that you're an expert in carbon fiber, and that's kind of what I need right now. Little aside there, but the point is that, thank you, sir, appreciate that. The point is that when it comes to your business, customer service has to scale with the business itself, right? So if you create a program, whether it's in Forex or anything else, if your customer service doesn't scale with the business, then all of a sudden you're going to get people giving you bad word of mouth. All right, so you've lost your number one marketing tool, which is word of mouth, right? Number one marketing tool is word of mouth. No matter what you do, no matter where you are, no matter what language you speak, word of mouth will always be the best marketing tool ever. That's the only reason social media exists, right? And you got companies, major companies, that still don't understand social media. It's like, dude, it's word of mouth. You don't understand word of mouth? How did you open your business in the first place? No one ever gave you a referral? So, that's a little bit of an aside. But the point is that I want to find someone to collaborate with, but it's just not possible, because every time that I try and ask them, hey man, what are your gains like? Send me a report, or I follow along with their trades, or I ask other people who are in the program, I just get disappointed. So I'm just like, I'm flying on my own at this point. I'm going to develop my own crowd, my own algorithm, my own everything, my own business, and just go with it, because there's the entrepreneur in me is very cautious when it comes to letting other people into the circle of us, all right? So all you guys that are on here for like the first time, and you guys essentially are the first people to see this algorithm work. Literally. I haven't shown anybody else. I haven't shown anybody in my family, none of my friends. Most of my friends don't even know what I do. They think I'm just in technology, and I am just in technology, but they don't know what exactly I do in technology. Because sometimes explaining it to them just, they don't know how to understand it. So anyways, the point being is that, if you guys are in a program and it works out well, let me know. Let me know. I want to collaborate, and so you guys can be my foot soldiers in that aspect. And if you came from a program where something wasn't right, also let me know. You don't have to mention names. You just say what was wrong with the program. So this way we steer away from that aspect. Singapore, Jesse, how are you? We get a lot of people from Singapore. A lot of people from Singapore entering the room. Anyways, guys, we discussed a lot tonight. We started off, we covered, if you guys want to watch the replay, we covered what we did for the week in terms of our gains, in both the daily chart and the 2-hour chart. All right? We talked about SciPy. We talked about a little bit of statistical analysis. We talked about MLM. We talked about setting up programs and where I want to go with this program. And I just call it a program at this point because I don't know what it's going to turn into. I'm kind of just gauging things as we go along, seeing if the response is something that's positive, kind of measuring the response and getting proof of concept, all right? So the proof of concept is there, the algorithm is working, and obviously that's where the value is. But now the second aspect is, how do you best deliver the value, okay? I'm thinking at this point, software as a service is definitely how I want to go with it. But there's also got to be an educational aspect, because people enjoy being able to make calls themselves. I understand that. That is part of the allure of myself being in the markets, is that when you make a call, or when you code a program that makes the call, you are essentially making the call as well. You get a feeling of excitement, exhilaration, positivity. You accomplish something. You beat the smartest people in the world. I mean, what feels better than beating the smartest people in the world? All the people that do currency exchange trading on that is their number one thing. They work for a bank, they work for an institution, they work for a hedge fund. Those are extremely intelligent people. Most of the people that this system is beating in the market are PhD level mathematicians, statisticians, and basically PhD physics level type mathematics. all right? And that's not going off on a tangent, and that's not exaggerating. That's literally who is being hired to actually code these positions at this current rate in the market. And it feels good to beat them. Not going to lie. It feels good to be at that level and compete at that level. I've always been a competitor. I've always competed in sports. So this is just one other form of getting that expression out, right? You guys want to know a great book? A great book. It's not trading related, but it's mind related. It's called The Art of Expressing the Human Body by Bruce Lee. It's one of the books that he wrote before he passed. And it goes into like the mentality and the philosophy of martial arts. It's a great book to read in terms of psychology and developing a competitive psychology. Okay, he also gives very detailed exercise programs in that book, and so it's definitely worth the read, or at least a flip through. You can probably go on Amazon and get a few pages of flip through to get it. An idea of what's in the book, but one of my favorite books of all time. Not trading related, but definitely mind related. As a matter of fact, you guys asked me about that, right? What books I recommend. I was thinking about that tonight after my workout when I got into the car, and the thing that came up was, if you're looking for books on Forex or trading or money management and all the things that we've been talking about this week, start with just one book, all right? You guys want to know the ultimate strategy? Let me just invite followers. I'm going to give you a really awesome strategy to learn any topic as well as you can superficially in 1 month. Awesome. Yeah, I can imagine video games. You probably coded video games, didn't you? I had a friend who coded. Thank you for the invites. Yes, it's channeling. That's an excellent way to look at it. It's channeling your current abilities elsewhere. So guys, here is, and I gotta find a regular book to actually show you. All right, you guys want to see something? Check this out. It's not a thick book. I've only read a little bit of it, but so I'm showing you with this book that could literally be used as a weapon. This is just a Cold Fusion book, which is a coding language. You don't have to know anything about this book, but here's how to learn any topic superficially in less than 30 days and how to do it efficiently, okay? How to do it efficiently. So this is a hack. This is a hack to learning any topic, okay? So let's say my topic was Cold Fusion. You pick up a book, you go to Barnes & Noble, you pick up a book, and you do one thing. You don't even have to read the book itself. You turn to the references in the back, and you start seeing where the reference keywords overlap. Okay? So hold on, we've got the index. I want to get to the point of where there's references, and this book has to have references. So you basically get to that point where you see all the references of everything that they have. And I think this may actually be... I don't know if they have any references. But let's say... That's really odd, because most scientific books do have references at the back of at least every chapter. So this is a bad example. I don't know why this book doesn't have it. Anyways, what you would do is you turn to the back of the book, and you start looking for the references, okay? And they're going to have every article, domain terminology. Basically, I'm trying to get a little bit more involved with Cold Fusion coding. But that's a story in itself. But the idea is you're going to turn to the back of the book, whatever topic you're trying to learn. You're going to look at the references, and there's going to be certain keywords from articles and reports and books that they start referencing. And so you're going to write down all those keywords, and then you go to Amazon, and then you just type in all those keywords one right after the other. All those keywords one right after the other. And then every book that covers those keywords is going to pop up. Boop. And so you would just make your way down the list. Whatever book has the highest rating with all those keywords that you looked at the back in terms of all the references that one book is using on your topic. You're going to start making your way down, and you're just going to grab one of those books, in whatever, PDF format, hardcover, Kindle, whatever, it doesn't matter. And you read that one book, and then when you finish that book, you go to that reference section and see what those keywords are in that reference section, okay? And it's going to be different for every book, obviously, because they're going to use different sources. But the bottom line is that it's a really quick way to zero in on the most important keywords for a topic, okay? Besides the actual topic itself. You're not going to count that as a keyword, right? But you're going to start looking at the other words that they talk about, okay? And those are going to be the avenues that you pursue. It's a really quick way to actually sort through a ton of books and not have to necessarily rely on other people's reviews because they can be skewed. So it's basically going to give you an idea of where to focus your time and what to read. When you do find the book, whatever your topic is, make sure that you read the book how people used to read books in the old days. They're not going to go for the speed in reading the book. They would actually take one book and maybe just read one book per quarter, but they would know every single thing about that book and take very detailed notes and really think about what the book was trying to explain. All right? So slow and steady in that term does a lot better. IRC, or if you just want to preview them. What's IRC? There's a lot of Cliff Note type sites and stuff like that out there. I don't know if that's what IRC is. Internet Relay Chat. I thought that was site related, right? Isn't that related to each site? Like each site can have an IRC? I don't know. Anyways, that's what I do. I just wanted to pass that along to you guys. You guys have a great weekend. The next time I will be on is likely going to be Saturday night, tomorrow night, and we'll discuss a little bit about strategy. Server set up to share books over FTP. Oh, like a BitTorrent server type thing? That's cool. Thank you for the invites. Thank you for the hearts, guys. I appreciate all of the support. And going into next week, like I said, our main goal is going to be to do the same thing that we did this past week. I hate that when Periscope reloads and it's already open on your computer. Sort of, but direct FTP connection with a bot. Interesting. I'll look it up. You're welcome, Clovieras. You're welcome. So next week, I'm going to give the strategy for next week on Sunday night. Tomorrow, I'm going to think of a topic based upon everything that we talked about that I think would be beneficial for you guys and provide value for you before we go into the next week, all right? What time is good for you guys at night to hop on? 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m. Eastern Time? Right now, it's 12:20 p.m. Eastern Time, or 12:20 a.m. Eastern Time. Because I know a lot of you guys are international, so it's always a game. Stacy, how are you? It's always a game of kind of popping onto Periscope with frequency to make sure you cover different time zones. Hello there. We just discussed some awesome Forex related stuff. So I'm about to get off the scope, but you can catch the replay, and I guarantee you'll learn something if you catch the replay because we discuss only very high level topics in this chat room, in this scope. 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay, cool. Does that work for everybody else? Thank you for the hearts. Appreciate the hearts. Guys, those hearts are important, especially when there's like nothing popping up in terms of comments. It helps me know that nothing's freezing. And there have been instances where people are getting kicked off. I see people rejoin the room and they were just in the room, which means that somehow they got kicked off. I don't know. It's because maybe they're traveling, maybe they hit a bad area with the Wi-Fi if they're traveling. You're back. Yeah, I was just talking about how people have to come back into the room. You'll be at work at that time. So maybe a little later, maybe 9 p.m. Eastern time. I mean, you can always catch... Okay, 10. You can always catch the replay. And if you guys do catch the replay, you guys can also watch it through Twitter. You guys know that, right? You can also watch replays on Twitter. What do you mean? Periscope set up on a PC? You can do that. You just go to the Periscope page. Your emulator isn't compatible. Oh, were you talking about SciPy? Yeah, there's that aspect of the technical BS that you have to get through when you start using libraries. Oh, for Periscope? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Going forward, guys, do you guys like this format that I'm holding on the scopes? You know, I usually do like a knowledge bit and then a Q&A session. Didn't realize there was a website. Yeah, periscope.tv. Periscope.tv /fitbusinessman, and it will start playing. If I'm live, it's going to start playing that feed automatically right through the website. But you can also watch on live on Twitter. So either Twitter or Periscope, you can watch live. That makes sense? All right, guys, I'm going to hop offline. You have a great night. Yeah, you can definitely. There's multiple ways to watch Periscope feeds. Twitter. If you guys do watch me on Twitter, just make sure give me a heart, give me some shares or retweets or something. I'd appreciate that very much. Obviously, the more traction we get, the more time I'm going to put into hopping online, giving you guys direction, information, and next week I want to actually make sure that I give you guys one trade per day, like before it actually happens. And so I think we're at that point, and that would be the ultimate demonstration. You know, I did that a few times this week, but a lot of times I was not able to hop on to the scope exactly when the trade alert was given. And that's part of the reason why I'm seriously considering making the software as a service aspect an alert system that would literally ping you guys with every trade that I'm taking, like as soon as it happens. Would you guys be interested in that? I see one heart. Does that mean that there's a chance? So you're saying there's a chance. You remember that part of Dumb and Dumber? All right. Gotta love that movie. All right, awesome. Yeah, and that would be the major reason, is because especially when we go to the lower time frame charts, if we're doing like a 1 hour time series, right, or a 2 hour time series, those alerts are going to come every hour, every 2 hours. All right, they can come that quickly. So obviously, I can't be hopping on a scope every single hour. I mean, I could, but people would probably not get my notifications. They're going to say, "Man, this guy is a scope fanatic. I can't bother with all these notifications." So in that regard, what if we do it like via text message or something like that? It's going to be like, oh, only the people who want to get trades are going to get that text message, and you may get 5 to 10 text messages a day. However, you're not going to get that unless you're interested in the trades, so to speak. So if that makes sense, I saw some hearts, so that means you guys are interested. That's cool too. Yeah, text is good. I just have to work out international text, like what does that cost? Obviously I'm a business person, and if it doesn't make sense financially, then the business cannot continue. So I'm very cautious in how things are getting set up. You guys can know that every single night I am looking at how we can properly create the value and deliver it. And when I mean we, I mean me, myself, and I, because that's basically the whole business right now. There you have it. I appreciate you guys hopping on tonight. I'm not going to keep you any longer. Try and use this method to study some material over the weekend. I gave you guys, check this out really quick before we. This was the homework for the news article that you guys were supposed to read on Bloomberg. All right, so if you haven't read that, give it a quick read. It's about 2 minutes. It wasn't that long. And I also want to show you something else with Bloomberg. Sorry, I didn't mean to cover the screen there. I also want to show you something else with Bloomberg that's very interesting that they just started doing. If you go to the main page of Bloomberg, right, you'll notice that they usually have an article somewhere over here that says, what am I looking for? This right here. They turned it into a section. This Bloomberg Gadfly has some very interesting articles. Let me focus this. There we go. So this Bloomberg Gadfly section is like a gold mine for some really good strategy and analysis articles. Like this stuff over here is like just news bullshit, basically. Okay, and maybe that's what I'll show you guys tomorrow is basically how you can game sites like this to get better information. But if you go to the Gadfly, these articles are basically like a step up in terms of analysis. These are very good analysis type articles. You see that? Merger wave, so they're talking about merger and acquisitions. And everything they talk about here is like a single topic, so it's really good for you guys to actually get your feet wet into analysis. These are all mostly analysis articles. So anyways, I'm not going to ever have a night where you guys don't get an awesome resource on here. We're keeping the record, the track record going. I will see you guys tomorrow night, okay? Probably about 8:30 to 9 p.m. And it may be as late as 10. It's going to be somewhere around there. It depends on how much work that I get done. Because obviously most of the time I'm going to be coding stuff for the weekend. You guys have a great night, all right? Start viewing what you want your routine to be over this weekend. Start thinking of what an ideal trading routine would be for you, okay? Write it down and keep that with you, and then we'll discuss on Sunday night when we start talking about what the strategy is going to be for the upcoming week, okay? So remember that. Your ideal trade routine, even if you have no idea what ideal is compared to other people, start writing down things that make you comfortable in times of stress, like what kind of lighting you want. Do you like coffee? Do you like tea? And start visualizing what that kind of atmosphere would be for you while you're trading, because obviously that's what we're talking about. We're talking about how to become great traders that literally use the market as a source of income. All right? You guys have a great night. Thanks for everything.